where we need to push an end to prohibition on cannabis. Because with the scientific research we currently have on this plant, there's no denying how valuable cannabis is to sustaining human life. Up until recent times, we have accepted that there was no cure to cancer. Now that we have discovered that cannabis oil is in fact curing some forms of cancer in certain individuals, it is absolutely inhumane to think that we should deny anyone access to this plant. I am proud to live in a time where we are slowly but surely winning this battle. State by state, we are legalizing cannabis recreationally and medicinally. Colorado, Washington State, Washington, D.C., Oregon, Alaska are all huge victories in our fight for legalization of cannabis, and I am so proud of these states and the legislators and the people that made this happen. And I have no doubt that other states will follow this lead because of the amazing tax revenue made off of these legislations. But state by state does not work, in my opinion. I am here today to say that in order for us to truly have freedom in this country or anywhere, this plant needs to not be rescheduled federally, but descheduled federally. This is a plant that has so many benefits to humans, I cannot possibly name them all up here right now. But just to give you an idea of the potential healing powers of this plant, let me just give you a few examples, okay? Crohn's disease affects as many as 1.6 million people, and that's just in America alone. Most are diagnosed before the age of 35. And I personally have 2 friends who are affected by this disease, and I know that it isn't pleasant. Science has never found a cure for this disease, but recent studies show that cannabis can highly benefit Crohn's disease patients and even put them into full remission. In a 2013 study done in Israel at the Meir Medical Center showed 5 out of 11 Crohn's patients who smoked 2 joints a day for 2 weeks ended up in complete remission, compared to 1 out of 10 in the placebo group. But let's talk about the disease that hits home for me, and I'm sure many of you here as well today. Cancer. This disease brings nothing but pain to the patient and all those that love them. And chemotherapy, although it does sustain the patient's life, it does not cure them of this disease. But recent studies show that THC oil can cure cancer in certain patients. My father, who happens to be such an intelligent and kind man, has cancer. He lives in a state that is legal to medicinally consume cannabis. So why is it that he doesn't treat his fatal disease with this oil that we know can possibly cure him in a state that allows it? Well, that is because he works for the federal government, and if he ingests cannabis, even protected under state law, he is at risk of losing his job because of federal law on this plant. This means that in order for my father to try to sustain a living to support him and my mother, he has to refrain from trying the one medication that is known to man to cure the fatal disease he has. I say shame on all the laws that prevent the cure for diseases to patients. This is why state-by-state legalization does not work, because state-by-state legalization is a slower process than my father's cancer cells spreading is. I know this is a risk because a PhD scientist at my father's work was fired last year for testing dirty for THC. This is also a plant that does not cause any significant harm when consumed by humans, unlike alcohol and tobacco, which are 2 of the #1 killers in our country and currently legal and advertised heavily for consumption. What obviously does cause harm is this violent drug war. It is ruining and tearing families apart all over the world. We, the people, will not take it anymore. We are going to continue to lobby, continue to protest, continue to spread the truth until this plant is totally available for anyone to choose to consume without lawful consequences. There is no debate anymore. Science points to one option, and that is re-legalize now. Thank you.
Sergeant Katz. Now, I know there's a few other people